the alcohol industry wants proof of the link between liquor and COVID-19. The industry has written to the COVID-19 Ministerial Advisory Council requesting scientific data that informs the current ban on sales. The South African Liquor Brand Owners Association says of the 80 countries where the Delta variant has been reported, South Africa is the only one forbidding alcohol sales. I'm joined now by the CEO of the association, Kurt Moore, and National Liquor Traders Council spokesperson, Lucky Mtimane. So, Lucky, we'll start with you, and let's start with the legal action that Vinpro is taking. Would you support any further legal recourse?
Good evening, Shahan, and good evening to eNCA viewers at home. Look, we support any association or any company's right to assert itself through the court processes to seek relief that's going to support and ensure that their livelihoods are not threatened. So, of course, we support any action that anyone takes to assert through the court processes. We feel that, it is a right move. It's about high time that, we are able to engage with government in a different platform. Maybe they will take us seriously. 20 weeks worth of a ban is not a child's play. Our people continue to suffer the effect of such bans. Now we are forced to endure another 2 weeks. It's something that we really cannot accept. So we feel that any legal action that is being taken by other manufacturers should be supported. And I can announce that the SAB is going to launch the urgent interdict tomorrow against this ban. And we fully support that as liquor traders. We feel that it's about time that we support this type of actions, because not only will they serve the best interests of SAB, but also us as liquor traders, because an open industry benefits us all.
There have been other attempts to try to overturn decisions that government have taken with this lockdown, and they have failed. So, Kurt, let's bring you in there. You're asking for scientific research to show a link between alcohol and COVID-19 infections. If you get that research, I'm guessing that can be used as an argument as to why this is a legitimate reason to ban sales or not.
Sean, yes, thank you. Good evening. Thank you for inviting me onto your show. I think what you said is accurate. We have asked the chairperson of the Ministerial Advisory Committee to please share with us the data that was used to make this decision. Now, we listened very attentively to the President's announcement on Monday evening, and in his announcement, he made two assertions. The first is that they followed an international benchmark. The second is that they followed the science. So ahead of the decision that would need to be made, this decision will be reviewed within 14 days. We'd like to have that science so that we can be very informed by what decisions government is making. Now, if we look over the last few months, there's been a number of research or researchers that have been released, some by the industry, some by the other associations such as the Medical Research Council. And there's some research that suggests, based on a hospital in Worcester, that it is better to have a full ban rather than partial bans. Now, if government is relying on that research, then certainly I think the 200,000 people in South Africa whose jobs are at risk as a result of this decision, and the million people who rely on the value chain of this industry for employment, as well as South Africa, need to know that this is the research that's been used. We've also looked at international benchmark, and India, where this Delta variant was derived or started, didn't even follow such a harsh route in terms of dealing with the pandemic. So we'd love to understand what international benchmarking was used in this decision.
Yeah, many could argue that because we saw thousands of people dying in India and hundreds of thousands of people being infected, that maybe they should have actually implemented a booze ban. And that will be one of the arguments that government will put forward. But let's talk a bit more about the jobs at risk and how this industry can be affected by a 2-week shutdown, Lucky. Of course, it might not seem like a big deal to many people, but 2 weeks is a long time when it comes to liquor sales, isn't it?
Yes, certainly. So if you look at the tavern sector, we employ over 250,000 workers. And those are the people that could not go to work on a Monday, that do not know where their next meal is going to come from. So these 2 weeks for them will feel like a lifetime. Even for us as liquor traders, and I mean, our businesses are geared towards a model where it's hand to mouth. So if we're not allowed to operate, even just for a mere day, it means then our livelihoods are at risk. We will not know where to turn to for support. And the fact that we've been banned without even a hint of a financial package to push it against the blows that these bans are doing to our livelihoods and our sector, it's really unfair. So in terms of the job, it's a serious matter. But also, our sympathy goes to the likes of Sun International, who had to close their doors. And guess who are affected? Those are our people that will not be able to go to work for the next 2 weeks. Will they be paid? Of course not. So we are concerned about these bans that are being made for us, without us, that have no basis in science or even in fact.
I saw that one of the ministers actually said that they will be providing support to the liquor industry this time around. Have you heard any of that, Kurt?
Unfortunately, we haven't heard any of that. I know that many of our members struggled with TERS in previous rounds. We've had some support from government for the large manufacturers, or the manufacturers, rather, let me say, in the form of excise relief over previous bans. But I do know that TERS has been problematic, and I'd certainly implore government to at least support those businesses or those employees who have lost their jobs as a result of their decision.
Yeah, Lucky, have you heard anything? Because I know that the minister obviously spoke today and this commitment was made, but whether it applies to tavern owners or how far-reaching it's going to be is the details that we don't really have. What are you hearing?
We didn't hear anything since we started undergoing these unnecessary bans as a country. We are yet to receive any government support. In fact, the talk of the support is surprising because government doesn't even want to talk to us, engage with us before they institute this type of ban. So the talk of a support is really something that we won't take seriously coming from this government. They have let us down many times. We have no reason to believe them this time around that they will do anything different to support our people.
Kurt, of course, he's written to Professor Kuleka Mlisana from the National Coronavirus Ministerial Advisory Committee for the Scientific Research. Are you worried that you're actually going to get a response from them? Will they give you this information or not? And if they don't, will you have to go the legal route to try to get this information?
Well, we believe that it's in the interest of South Africa that they do share this information with us. I think South Africans would like to know. As I mentioned earlier, the people whose jobs depend on this industry deserve an answer. At this stage, we haven't made a decision as SALBA to explore the court option. We do support, as Lucky mentioned earlier, we do have a constitutional right to go to the courts to get some resolution. We support those associations and companies who have followed that route, but we haven't made yet a decision on whether we'd explore the legal route.
Well, I'm guessing you're going to have to push because 14 days is going to end quite soon, and you're going to have to get this information to actually use in court in your arguments. Lucky, just in terms of the way forward and what we're hearing from some quarters regarding the lockdown regulations being broken. Of course, many people will denounce any calls for that to happen because it's against the law. What do you say to liquor traders who are selling alcohol illegally right now?
Our call is very clear, and we've, in that regard, engaged with the Minister of Police, where we gave him our assurance that we're going to follow the protocols as it pertains to COVID-19, that our members are going to comply, that they will lock their doors, they'll wait for that 14 days that the President has announced that it's going to be the period in which we need to wait so that it gives us an opportunity to trade again. Obviously, we do not agree with that, but we have to now follow the law and make sure that our members comply. But we understand that, the illicit market, which is now worth over 20 billion rand on an annual basis, almost 10% of the total legal market, is thriving now. In fact, the announcement by the President has sent, those people to be smiling, and we need to understand fully what illicit market represents in the country. Those profits that are made in that space support other illegal and criminal activities that fuels the high crime that we see as a country. So the decision really is about, supporting the criminal element. And the President probably was not aware of what he was doing. Hence, we keep on calling for him to consult with the industry so that he can get the best advice on how to go about the issue of ensuring that we're able to sustain lives, but also livelihoods. You cannot talk about lives if livelihoods are not sustained to support the very same lives that you want to protect. But we feel that, it's about high time that, we engage with government so that they sit with us, so that we can find common ground in which we're able to find solutions that work for both of us. We want the same thing with government. We want a healthy South Africa that is free of COVID, but it cannot be done in isolation. We need each other to make this right.
Yeah, Kurt, I'll end with you, and it comes to the question of compliance. As an industry, you have an obligation to ensure there is compliance, whether it's at restaurants, taverns, liquor stores, liquor outlets. What can you do to actually work with government to make sure this happens? Because the reality is, in the past couple of weeks, we've seen many rules flouted. We've seen the restrictions ignored at bars, etc. So what can you do to make sure this doesn't happen if we see alcohol being sold again after these 2 weeks?
Sean, you're right. As an industry, we've taken our responsibility very seriously. We're sitting in the room now and having a discussion with Lucky. We've been working with the taverners to ensure that there's compliance with the regulations. We have supported the community policing forums by introducing what we call community patrollers. They've been working hand in hand with the police to identify businesses that are not complying with the regulations, to ensure that there is compliance. So that is what we will do as industry. We've also given out an undertaking to the National Liquor Authority that we will stop supply to any business that loses its license as a result of infringements of the COVID regulations or their general licensing restrictions or regulations. So that is something that we are willing to do, and we've committed to do that throughout this process. We've gone above and beyond what is expected of us. We've given some support for the need to have sanitizers. We've produced alcohol so that we can help supplement or augment the sanitizer situation in South Africa. So we've done a lot to support government, and we still remain committed to working with government. Even in terms of the vaccine program, we've agreed and we've made ourselves available to assist in this great logistical effort that's required to roll out the vaccine, which we believe is the solution to these challenges we face.
All right, thank you both for your time. I do appreciate it. Kurt Moore from the South African Liquor Brand Owners Association and Lucky Mtimane from the National Liquor Traders Council.